Alright guys, welcome to the show. This is going to be the CGO group stage review and playoff preview show for the ESL AVA Winter League 2016. So the ESL AVA Winter League 2016, if you don't know, it's the first seasonal league that ESL has started doing for AVA. Basically, 16 teams compete in it. They get divided into 4 groups of 4. Top 2 teams in each group after 3 weeks move on to the playoffs bracket, which is a single elimination bracket, and then each weekend they do each stage of that bracket until they get to the grand finals. So we're already past week 3. The group stage has completed completely now. So the current teams that have made it through are Roki Heat, Global, Celsia, and Fire Pizza. The other 4 teams that came second in the groups were Nefast, Siren, EVA Core, and Day Esport. So those are the 8 teams that made it out of the groups. So let's just review the groups a little bit. I know we kind of I missed week 3. I was sick. Sorry about that, guys. We did go over week 2 a little bit, but just a nice review of the group stage. So let's look at that. So as you guys can see on here, we have the groups and then of course the matches. Just noticed I need to make that a 0 and 3. Sorry about that, guys. But anyways, so we have Group A. We have Roki Heat, Nefast, Victus, and Kimya. This is the group where I said Nefast, Victus, and Kimya. These 3 teams, all the way back at the first week, it was like, which one of these teams are going to come out of this group? We really don't have any clue how these teams are going to play out. And now look at those results: 2-1 for Nefast. Victix is 1-2, and Kimya is 0-3. So surprising. Well, not surprising, but just good to see how that group actually turned out. There's a lot of tension in that group between those 3 teams. Like, was it really a race between 3 teams? Was it just a race between the 2? We saw some good plays from Victix, but they did go 1-2. But yeah, Rogue Heat 3-0, no problem at all for them, I guess. Didn't even drop a single map against anyone they played against, which is a trend we're actually going to see throughout the rest of the groups here. So yeah, Rogue Heat and Nefast, of course, they go off to the playoff bracket. Let's look at Group B. We have Global, Siren, Hollows, and Gorgeous. Global 3-0. I mean, Global number one top 2 team, whatever you want to call it. Wasn't a surprise that they went 3-0. Siren, of course, going 2-1 is the big surprise. I mean, we had Gorgeous in the group, and Hollows also could have been a dark horse, but we didn't really know too much about that. So basically, back in week 1, it was like, okay, so is Siren a good team? Is Hollows going to turn out to be a good team? How is Gorgeous, this NA team that is actually fairly decent, how are they going to play with 100 ping in a best of 5? So those were all those questions, and as we see here, Hollows and Gorgeous, they didn't play their last game against each other, so they went 0-2, lost their games against Siren and Global. But Siren, 2-1, they beat Gorgeous, they beat Hollows. Somehow they dropped 2 maps to Hollows, and then dropped 1 map over to Gorgeous. So good play coming out from them, but a little not definitive of how well they could be compared to how all the other first place seeds went 3-0 and didn't drop a single map. So yeah, Global, of course, as already stated, didn't drop a single thing. Gorgeous and Hollows didn't play. Group C, Fire Pizza and EVA Core are going to be your 2 teams that made it out. Again, Fire Pizza, first seed, went 3-0. Didn't drop a single map, as you can see down here. Great job to them. They were probably the team most likely that we thought were top 4-ish, but they would be the team most likely to drop maps, or even drop a game, maybe go 2-1, maybe even come second in the group. We really didn't know how Fire Pizza was actually going to perform. Especially because Go Mayhem was in this group. EVA Core looked really strong early on as well, which they did prove by going 2-1 in the group. So Fire Pizza, EVA Core both living up to their expectations. Go Mayhem, it's not the same Go Mayhem that you guys may be thinking of from 2015 or even 2014. Lacking a few of the strong fragging power players from back then. So they did go 1-2. Not much else to say about that. Thugs and Pajamas, no one was really predicting them to do well. Happy that they showed up and they were playing their games. They played every game, I think. They did end up losing all of them, didn't even win a single map. That sucks, but that is the nature of competition, so hopefully they're happy that they at least got to compete against these teams. But yeah, Fire Pizza EVA Core going off to the playoffs. And then, of course, we have Group D. We have Celsia and Day Esport coming out of this group. Celsia, another team, just like Global, we expect them to come out of the group. It would have been a massive upset if they even dropped more than 2 maps in total. They didn't drop any at all, as you can see. Just completely demolished every team. Group D was a little bit of a Group A here. Day Esport, Twix, Venture we weren't too sure about who was going to, come second in the group, who was going to pose a problem with each other. Venture posed no problem at all to anyone apparently. They posed a little bit of problem to Twix, but Twix pulled it out with that 3-2 victory. So that match really could have gone either way. So that third, fourth placing, maybe not entirely definitive, but definitely first and second are definitely definitive. Day Esport, 3-0 Adventure, 3-1 Twix. So they did lose one map to Twix, but I mean still +2 over them in the map score. So great job to Day Esport, definitely coming out on top there. So let's talk about any surprises from the groups for a moment. Really, Go Mayhem, massive surprise that they didn't perform as well as anyone thought that they might be able to. Same thing there in the same group as EVA Core, they came out on top. Great job to them. Another surprise was Day Esport performing well. I mean, great job to them. Hopefully they can continue this performance in the playoffs. Rest of the group, for Group B I should say, is Siren, another good surprise there. It wasn't really for sure if they were going to be able to transfer how well they could compete in the game over onto serious ESL competition, especially in a best-of-5 format with longer rounds. But they proved any doubters wrong. They performed very well. Hollows, gorgeous. I don't know what those teams are doing. Rogue Heat, Group A. Yeah, the surprise is really just in Fast and how well they were able to perform. Hopefully they stay at it, continue on playing, because in 2 months they could easily be a top 4 team. They could squeeze in there behind Fire Pizza, maybe even Rogue Heat if Rogue Heat's not playing well. But that's basically all the groups. Basically the groups in a nutshell. I mean, the first seeds were the top 4 teams that everyone was expecting to come out. The second seeds, 2 of them were expected. The other 2 was kind of like in a battle with one other team. So I mean, group stage was pretty boring. I mean, you got to see Global demolish all these teams. You saw Celsius demolish these teams, but yeah, for spectators and viewers, I think the group stage there wasn't too many upsets, anything like entertainment value like that. For the team's players, I think they all liked it. I spoke to a few of the teams. They said they liked playing the game. Some of them wanted to play more. Some of them didn't want to play best-of-5s for so long. But I think everyone enjoyed that. So let's talk about the playoff bracket here. So you just have to look up above to what you were looking at before. So the way the playoffs work is that the quarterfinals will be played on March 5th and March 6th. Semifinals A will be played on March 12th. Semifinals B will be played on March 13th. And of course, grand finals on the third weekend, March 19th. These times are not 100%. These times can be changed. There's from 1600 CET to 2200 CET, I believe. They can kind of schedule around each other, maybe even these March 6th games may be played on the March 5th. All depends on how the teams want to schedule it out. Hopefully they don't wait until last minute to actually figure this out. But let's just talk about the teams here for a moment. Rogue Heat, Day Esport. Now, Rogue Heat, their team that well, they have a lot of strong potential on their team, but they just don't always use it. Let's just look at their lineup down here for a moment, wherever they are. So Rogue Heat, haven't updated the pictures yet, sorry about that, but Wicked, Kybal, Cactus, Rocky Memo, and Akaz. So the thing to look at this lineup is that Cactus, Kybal, or Cable, whatever we want to call them, and Wicked all have the potential to drop a 20 bomb and carry massively. They also all have the potential of going 2 and 10 all at the same time. Rocky Memo was having star performances in all of the group stage games. I mean, great job to him. Really don't remember anything too spectacular about Nakaz. I know he does a lot of consistent fragging, but when you have three players on the team that are going to bottom frag, you need to be a kind of player that can step up. So that's kind of how Rogue Heat kind of works. I mean, Wicked, of course, is that scope. Cactus, yeah. So that's basically how that team goes. So then there's the Esport. Let's find them. They're down here. So it's O2K, Raccoon, Chibu, Stenke, and Segu, as you can see down here. Wasn't thoroughly impressed by any of these players except for Raccoon. Raccoon was playing pretty well. Now, how this is going to stack up against Rogue Heat, I'm not too sure. Rogue Heat, on paper, Rogue Heat has the fragging power. They have the experience. They've played together forever. I mean, they have a well-oiled scope. They have a team that knows how to play around with each other. They Esport, unproven team, haven't ever broken into the top four, haven't taken maps or games off of Global Fire Pizza, Celsia, or Rogue Heat in ESL. So it's hard to say that Day Esport could even upset just one map from Rogue Heat. Maybe Day Esport is going to put in a lot of practice here, but I mean, teamwork and stuff like that doesn't come up overnight. So Rogue Heat, Day Esport, I'm going to call a 3-0 victory for Rogue Heat. I would be surprised if Day Esport could even win 11 rounds in total against Rogue Heat. So I guess that's the thing for Day Esport to beat is me calling them out here on 11 rounds that they may not be able to get. So prove me wrong and give us an entertaining show, guys. But yeah, that's the first game. That could be on Saturday, so tune in for that. It should be exciting to see how Rogue Heat performs. I mean, it may not be a very close game, but it is going to tell us how Rogue Heat is actually performing against another team that is in the top 8. Because Rogue Heat just had to play against the Fast. It really doesn't indicate anything about how well they are going to perform against some later teams, so definitely watch that match for that information. In the second quarterfinals game, we have Global going up against E or Core. Now this is a game that could go crazy. So let's just look at the lineups first. Global, Epi, Cyphers, Taz, Kimpa, Delcor. I think most of you guys know that lineup. So E or Core, where are they on this page? So E or Core, Rosie, Brave, Konzi, Gentex, and K Regar. Gentex, Krigor, Rosie have all had games where they've carried and done a massive job. Brave also had some really good performances. So I guess you can assume what I'm going to say here, but if 3 of those 5 players, or 3 of those 4, step up, Global needs to be on their toes here. Global, we saw how badly they can play dual site on offense against Celsia in that 5-on-5 Tuesday Cup. Both teams were definitely trying, so it does give you some insight. Global might be weak on that dual site map. Most of their games in the groups were just complete stomps, so there isn't really any analysis to take out from Global from that. We instead have to look at the monthly cups, the 5-on-5 cups, so that's why I'm talking about that now. So Global, the way we see them play is that they're an individual skill focused team, probably the highest individual skill team at all, really. But they don't have that teamwork like Celsia. They don't have the finesse and the proper rotation calls and timings that Celsia have. They have individual skill. They have Taz, they have Kimpa, they have Cyphez. I mean, just crazy players on this team that can just get a 3K, clutch around. You know, that's their powerhouse. Evo Core, maybe their fragging power is like 1/3 of Global overall, if you want to try and visualize it that way. But I think their true strength is that they do have teamwork. They do have good rotation calls. And they know their maps that they play. I mean, this best of 5 format, it really draws out. You can't just win 2 maps. You have to win 3, and that can pose a problem because then you go to 4 maps, or potentially even 5 maps that you play instead of just 2 or 3. So Evo Core, I think that is where they're going to have to find their strength, and that's how they're going to have to exploit Global's weakness. But I mean, for Global, is that going to be a weakness? They're an experienced team. They're experienced players. They've played for so long that they do know all the maps. So individually, they will for sure be able to outplay Core 100%. Team-wise, Global, they were never a team that had teamwork. They just picked up 2 new players. They did play through 3 weeks of group stage, so maybe they've gelled together. They know what they're trying to do. But Core, they've been playing with each other for a while. They're practicing that teamwork, and that's what they have to rely on. So Core, Global, could be 3-1, should be a 3-0 if Global's serious about playing this AVA game and wanting to go to international competition and beating the Koreans. And everyone else that they weren't able to beat, or Europe wasn't able to beat. So Global should 3-0. Core, though, I mean, if Core can even get 1 map over Global here, that would be a huge accomplishment. It would show massive amount of progress since week 1 and signing up. That's what we need to look forward to from Core. Definitely a really good game. I think that everyone should tune in and watch. Core, Global, don't miss it, guys. So then we're going to talk about the other quarterfinals here. Fire Pizza and Siren and Celsia versus Nefast. So Fire Pizza, their current lineup is Mangost, Anju, Pedoways, Mashik, and Zek. And then Siren, let's see, where are they on this page? I put them at the bottom, my bad. Rage, Kijin, Chuck, Mr. Billboy, and Medi. So for Fire Pizza, you guys know those players, Mashik, Zek, you know who they are. Siren, though, Chuck and Medi stepped up huge in most of the games that they played. Kijin was doing a really good job. Rage was doing a really good job on flanking a lot. But Chuck had some crazy 3Ks in the one game that was casted or something. Medi, again, really good solid performance from him. He was a little bit above a consistent player as well. So with how this is going to turn out, so Fire Pizza versus Siren, I actually think Siren might take this game if Siren has been practicing, working on their individual aim, practicing at least 3 specific maps that they are going to intentionally try to play. They've researched Fire Pizza. They know which maps to specifically ban out. I think Siren can they could 3-2 Fire Pizza. I think it's the most plausible upset game in this entire playoff bracket. Fire Pizza, they look a little shaky. Zek, underperforming on ESL. Miss Sheik, not hitting those highs that we saw in 2015. Mangost, Mangost on Global, he was on a team full of individual players. All he had to focus on was getting picks. Mangost on Fire Pizza is a team leader, trying to micromanage everyone. It's impacting his gameplay, or just something is impacting his gameplay. It's just like Zek in CCS. Mangost isn't hitting those highs like he was hitting them in Global. I'm not sure why. Maybe they'll change it around for the playoffs. Maybe they'll take it more seriously. Maybe they'll practice some more. But really, Mangost, Mashik, and Zek, they all need to show up for them to beat Siren, because Siren is a real threat. Probably the biggest threat out of Day Esport, Core, and Nefast. Don't want to go into too much detail about which maps they should ban or which maps might get played, but as I don't think there's only really one map I think that Siren should ban out completely, but Fire Pizza, Siren, definitely probably the most closest game we will see over the weekend, so make sure you guys tune in for that and watch it out. I'm saying 3-2 for Siren. Fire Pizza, they're going to keep it close, but I think the teamwork and the overall strategy from Siren is going to be too much, and it's going to poke holes in Fire Pizza. Of course, this is AVA, so I'm fully expecting Fire Pizza just to 3-0 them and make me look like an idiot. We'll just have to see how it worked out on match day. So moving on to the next game, we have Celsia versus Nefast EU. So Celsia, same lineup: Silverlight, Cold Owner, Timmy, Mankey, and Dolaprane. And then for Nefast, wherever they are at the bottom, Vintage, Zippy, Keisha, Guess Who, and Spexity. So here, we were expecting a lot from Spexity. he didn't perform as well as we saw him perform in January and a little bit before that. Uh, Throughout the 3 weeks, I mean, yeah, he had a few good games, but they weren't heavy impact games like we had been seeing from before. Zippy and Kija, um, I don't know, like these two players didn't perform well against who did they play against Roki Heat? And because of that, if they can't perform well against Roki Heat, how are they going to perform against Celsia? I mean, Celsia isn't the team that has the greatest individual skill, but they don't need that individual skill because they have teamwork, buddy system, strategy, longest running team together at all, right? But still, Celsia, they do know how to frag. I mean, they're not that far behind Global in individual skill. That's still why they're a top 2 team and they're always a threat to Global. I mean, they did 6-0 Global on dual site, right? Um, so Nefast here, I mean, if their plan isn't to outfrag Celsia, which no one should think that they should be able to do, haven't had those level of performances at all in the group stage. They lost to Roki Heat. So even if their teamwork, strategy, all that stuff comes together, no individual skill, I mean, it's going to be rough. I don't even think they'll take a map. Maybe they can keep one map close. But maybe probably the best map, they'll probably be able to keep it close against Celsia, but then Celsia is just going to dismantle them. Celsia, they know how to, they play 2 rounds, they know all of your strategies just like that. Very frustrating to play against. So Nefast EU, they have a lot of this is a match where they have a lot of homework they need to do, and they have to do a lot of homework just to win one map. Winning 2 maps, 3 maps, I mean that's called taking a map or Celsius' favorite map or Celsius' second best map. I mean, that doesn't seem very possible. And then if Celsius somehow finds themselves in a 2-1 position, they're just going to immediately try as hard as they can on that 3rd map, and Nefast is going to crumble. We didn't see any sparks or special treats from Nefast in the group stage like we saw from Siren or even from Iwakor. That showed a little hint that, hey, maybe they could be a top 4, top 3 team if they tried a little bit harder, had some more time. Nefast, we didn't really see that. Nefast kind of, I don't know, they looked amateurish against Rogi Heat. So Nefast definitely is the one team out of these 4 top 8-ish teams that needs to prove the most. I'm hoping that they prove me wrong and they give everyone an entertaining game, but just from their past performances, from their lineup, from everything that we've seen, it's, I mean, Celsius 3-0, right? Alright. Alright, guys, so that's going to be Ink's analysis, or my analysis, or whatever you want to call it. I did talk to a few of the teams about everything. I watched all the week 1 games, or most of the week 1 games. I missed a few. I missed week 3 completely, but those week 3 games didn't really matter for the most part for the placements. Week 2, I caught some of them thanks to Miss Guy and some of the stuff that Epi did. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting landscape here for the playoffs. Yeah, I guess there's not much more to say about that. Fire Pizza, Siren, definitely tune into that game on Sunday. Might be done. Celsia Nefast, easy wash I think for Celsia. Global versus Iwakor, maybe Iwakor can take a map. So definitely would tune in to see if Global can 3-0 or if Iwakor is going to be able to present a challenge. I definitely think Iwakor can present a challenge for Global, so definitely something could be there. Roki Heat versus Day Esport. I mean, that's Day Esport. It's going to be rough for them, but hopefully they are able to pull it through. Maybe pose a problem for Roki Heat. Really happy so far with how the group stage went. All the teams had good things to say about it. Playoffs are going to be crazy. I mean, as soon as we get to the semifinals, it's going to be very close games, very intense here. Top 8 prizes are pretty much regular cup prizes. Top 4, 4th place is like 1st place in a regular cup. 1st place is 12,000 AP. Top 4 is all exclusive like items that you can't get from anything else. So the stakes definitely go crazy for these semifinals. So definitely got to tune in for those ones as well. And we have the grand finals. Guys, I missed out on a lot of content last week, so I'm going to try to push out as much as I can this week. That's why this video is 25 minutes long or whatever. Um, but yeah, so quarterfinals are now. I will do a review of the quarterfinals, one video for that. I will do a preview show for the semifinals, review of that, preview and review for the grand finals. We'll do a full text article, round by round review of the grand finals. I may do one for semifinals A and B if there's an upset, but those articles are really long, so I may not do it. We'll try to get interviews with Siren, Fast, Day Esport, and New Core. If you're part of that team and you're watching this right now, message me on Skype, PM me on ESL so that we can get those questions up onto the CGO Media's website. But yeah, lots of content coming out in the next few weeks, guys. March, this is where it gets really entertaining. Group stage is boring. Who cares about the group stage? Playoffs, that's where it's at. Yeah, stay tuned to the website for content. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. We're almost at 600 likes on Facebook. Pretty crazy. Go like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. By liking and following us on there, guys, you'll get notified whenever we release new content and stuff and like, so you don't have to just, figure out whatever's going on. Subscribe to us on YouTube for the same reason. Highlight clips, VODs from the playoffs will be on there. Interviews that we do, audio, text, whatever. And follow us on Twitch, guys, as we'll be going live on there as well to cover the games. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weak. I did have a lung infection. Kept me out of the whack for like 12 days. Sorry about that, guys. Missed a few things, but I'm back, ready to do these games, and let's get it going.